There we go. All right. Okay. This is the most people we've ever had for one of our meetings since I've been chair. It's kind of interesting.
It would be the day the technology doesn't work for us too.
Yeah, well, I think what's going on is the town has hired, they have a person who manages the Zoom account. And that individual normally starts every meeting and then they transfer it to the various committees and boards. She's not available tonight, and I think the town manager is exploring with the potential for us committee chairs and board chairs to launch the Zoom meeting ourselves, because I have been entrusted with the email and the password. And unfortunately, it's taken me a while to make sure I actually had the wrong email address. I had the right password, but the wrong email address. All right, so let me bring up our agenda. And we might change the order here just a bit to facilitate your time. But I have to read some things before we actually get started with our meeting. We are recording. It is 7:33 and the APDC meeting is now called to order. In accordance with the requirements of open meeting law, be advised that this meeting is being recorded and will be broadcast over the Lunenburg Public Access channel. The recording of this meeting will be available on the Lunenburg Public Access YouTube channel within 24 hours. Additionally, be advised that the town of Lunenburg utilizes the Zoom platform as its host for hybrid and remote meetings, that the Zoom platform uses AI technology known as AI Companion to create audio transcripts of meetings to aid in the subsequent preparation of meeting minutes, and that AI Companion is activated immediately upon launching the Zoom application. You're hereby notified that this AI technology may capture audio prior to the start of the meeting and or following the conclusion of the meeting. Participants via Zoom may use the raise the hand feature to request to speak. The public comments will be printed on a regular agenda topics in addition to public comments at the discretion of the chair. The agenda lists all the topics which may be discussed at the meeting, and those reasonably anticipated votes may be taken because of these discussions. Not all items listed in the meeting or in the agenda may be discussed. Okay, so with that, is there any general public comment from you all? If not, I want to approve our meeting minutes, and then I'm going to go through the agenda and kind of change things up just a bit.
Yeah, one just comment, Anthony, I need to leave at 8:20 today.
Okay,
so
we'll be done by then.
Okay, super.
I had made, I looked at the meeting minutes once again. Thank you, William, for doing the meeting minutes. I looked at the meeting minutes for April and the meeting minutes for May. I had a couple little minor typos that I marked up, and I'll give these to you. There wasn't anything significant. Overall, the only perhaps significant item was on the 8 May meeting minute, you had Adam discussed about the merger APDC Historical Commission. So what I changed that to, there was a separate conversation with Adam Costa about the merger of the APDC and Historical Commission. He will follow up with us in June. So I've made those changes. He passed those to Wayne. Is there any other comments? And I would look for a motion to approve the meeting minute. Second with those changes. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Okay, so now you have 2 sets of meeting minutes, Wayne, to send off to the town clerk, and those are complete. All right, so the first person who contacted me was about the Jones house. Dawn, you want to go through and talk about your proposed work?
Well, really quick, I have 2, actually it might go into other walls, but these 2 east walls.
On the barn and on the
Yeah.
house.
Yeah, I want to do the hardy plank as opposed to the cedar. And that's the difference, and I don't see a difference. Except that I'm gonna pay a lot less for that and I don't have to paint it.
It doesn't face the street, so
It doesn't face the street.
Yeah, so it doesn't really concern.
Okay.
That, exactly. I
So-
didn't even know if
yeah.
I had to even be here.
Yeah, but we appreciate it.
Yeah, well, I mean, I just
Yeah.
wanted to get your approval, because that, if that looks nice, I might actually do that for other parts that are kind of. The paint job is great,
Yeah.
it's lasted for 12 years, and, but just getting to these areas with painting and stuff,
Oh, no,
if I can do that and make it last for 30 years.
sure.
I would classify that as maintenance. I don't see her having a need to submit a separate determination of applicability form. We agree with that?
Yeah. I agree.
Okay,
Yeah, I was thinking that was a no-brainer, but I just wanted to
Okay.
be here and just ask you guys that.
Yeah, yeah.
Because it's
that's
it's like a $10,000 difference.
Hmm.
Yeah, so,
Good.
so.
we love Hardy Plank much more than a final sighting, so.
Me too.
Okay.
So, we're all set?
Yeah, all set.
Fabulous.
Thanks, Don.
Thank you, Don.
Should we just
Okay.
do a quick motion to approve that, just for the record?
Sure.
All right, motion to approve the proposed change to the zone test.
Second, is there a second?
Like,
Wait a second. Any other discussion?
does it even qualify? It does, it's not
It-
under our jurisdiction. It doesn't face the street, so it's not, according to the guidelines, it's not, it's a non-ruling.
Well, that plus the fact that, well, all right, so we have a motion, we have a second. We have discussion. I think that this is. I would agree with you. First of all, that it would be maintenance and we're not required to deal with maintenance issues. And since it doesn't face the street, but I don't see any harm in actually voting on the motion.
Sure.
So, all right, so all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, so that's passed. And then Dawn will be more comfortable, I think, with that. All right, the determination of applicability for 936 Mass Avenue. One of the things, let me start with my commissioners. I spoke to Brian Gingras yesterday, because I was confused by the drawings that were on, opengov.com. And I shared those drawings with you, and my principal concern was I had no site plan and I had no way to place the proposed work against existing structures. So I called Brian and I said, am I reading this wrong? And he said, no. He says, we've asked for additional drawings for the building permit. We need information about what's going to take place inside the building. I've been in touch with the applicant for the building permit, and I'm waiting to hear back from them. So had these two not shown up tonight, our decision, I would have recommended that we say that the determination of applicability can't be rendered because of incomplete information. That we don't know fully what work is going to take place on what part of the structure based on the drawings that were submitted through opengov.com. So that's an important issue for us because our time clock doesn't start until we have a complete set of drawings. So the clock has not started because based on what was in opengov.com was not complete, didn't give us enough information to make a determination as to whether there's been, we could give you just a determination of applicability saying proceed, or whether binding review is required. All right, so any comments, questions?
Yeah, I got a comment. So there, it seems like there are detailed, fairly detailed conceptual drawings here for a portion of the structures on that property. And are there changes proposed beyond what's outlined in the drawings here?
I don't know. And, for me, there's two big issues. I don't think the drawings are complete, Nathan.
Yeah, but we don't have to necessarily have complete drawings. Like, this is more than a lot of what we get a lot of the time.
Let me tell you what the missing pieces are. We have no information about the exterior siding. We have no information about windows. We have no information about where this building is in relationship to the other structures. All right, so that's why I'm saying that this package is not complete yet. And the building commissioner has said the same thing.
Okay, building commissioners, what the building commissioner needs for his purposes and what we need for our purposes
are two different
are
things,
different things. Yeah.
but there is some overlap.
It's probably some overlap, yeah.
Yeah.
But
Like
I mean,
he has no idea as to what the exterior finish is gonna be. And he also doesn't have any idea as to what the use is going to be, based
okay.
on the drawings that have been submitted.
Well, okay. I guess we could approve a scope based on information, these drawings, what the applicant tells us. You know, if they tell us we're not changing the siding, we can say we approve.
Well,
Yeah,
but we don't know that, so
well,
let's,
the applicants are here. though, yeah.
so now, I just wanna make sure that, like, I believe that the package was incomplete the way it was submitted. So the clock hasn't begun, so let the clock begin by you telling us what you're gonna do.
Okay.
Okay,
So the house on 936 is, there's a main house, and then there's the middle portion where they built at a time, and they attached a barn. The barn is in the rear of the property
Mhm.
from Mass Avenue. So she wants to take that barn portion. And we would have to do, we have the engineer do plans for that, excuse me. And she wants to turn it
Excuse
into
me.
living.
wait, excuse me.
And they have to, say who they are.
Yeah.
and
Yeah, I'm
address
sorry.
and everything
They
for the
had,
record.
they introduced them before we went on. Okay, please, Jamal. Yeah.
So where the contractors doing work.
Okay.
So they wanna take that attached barn and turn it into living space. The upstairs portion, the house is gonna look like a man cave, as you called it. And the downstairs portion would be a family living room for the wife and, you know, that's just kind of what they want, so. What we are proposing is to fix the engineering to hold the structure up, to make it load bearing and whatnot through the engineered plans that we had. And then just fix up the inside, so we would have to frame it to add walls, the outside walls would stay as they are, other than they wanna add they wanna do board and batten with the hardy board. So it would be board and batten, in the hardy cement siding, excuse me. Yeah, I can do that. So,
And I would ask that all the information that you provide to us tonight, that go into the application
I actually
package.
do that this afternoon.
You did that?
I did.
Okay.
So this picture here is,
Is that the rear?
this is doesn't face the rear, so it faces us this way, so there, yeah, so it goes this way. What she would, so this window would stay the same, we would put a window, it's a 400 series window, which I did add the specs to the website, but it would match the existing house, so 2/2, wood on the inside, aluminum clad on the outside.
That's an Anderson window.
They're Anderson 400 series, yeah. So that would stay there. This is where the hay loft used to be. That will not be operational, but will look just like that. We're not gonna change the look of it. So it'll look like it's still there, but it's not operational. These doors will be taken off and actually used to hang on the side of the building, where behind it, she would like a panel of windows, of 3 of the Anderson windows. So then this would slide back and forth. That would be that side of it.
So you'd have to go outside to open that up for the windows to be viewed?
Yes, that's what she wanted, to have that done, yep. This is the back side of the building here, that's facing the rear of the property. On here where this door is, she would like to have French doors added with a small deck to come out to the backyard. And again, everything would be the hardy board, the deck would be Trex deck in gray. Just this here with white railings, white and black with black balusters. And the opposite side of the building, which I don't have a picture of, but it mirrors this one without the door, obviously. So upstairs, there would be the same window, but on the opposite side, And then down below, there are two small, like, I don't know what they would be called, but they have the bars on them in the olden days and like the horses could look out or whatever, but there's two of those which we would take out and put in awning windows. So it would look the same, it just would be an awning window as opposed to plexiglass, I suppose, so. And then I believe that's everything, and then on the inside, there's the floors on the inside, on the first floor will be left as is, we're gonna have them refinished. So sanded and refinished and then the same look will be carried upstairs. He's gonna just get some same type of a board and put them upstairs, cause upstairs is just
Pay a lot.
a lofty, so we would have to do that, and then, and that's pretty much it. As far as how it would look and function, so I think the biggest changes would be taking this door and putting the 3 windows with the sliding barn doors, and then the back here where we do the French doors and.
Can I see those?
If you wanna see how it fits in with the rest of the structure, you can go to Google Street View and if you can get a peek back there.
I have,
So one quick
I
question,
have the spot plan, which I also added to the. Oopsie.
What's the foundation made of?
The foundation right now is stone and some concrete, so there's stone on one side.
So rubble
So-
stone,
Yes, rubble.
fieldstone,
Fieldstone, yeah, so we would have to. We're leaving the look on the outside, we would go underneath where the barn is and dig and put in,
Putting it along. That it carried the live load, put the new live load of the barn, all the drywall, plaster and so forth. So pretty substantial plan for the foundation, beefing it up, gonna be LVLs inside underneath and so forth.
So that would just obviously,
Yeah.
I'll be underneath and not,
It'll carry the same look as it is outside then.
Any
I
questions?
have a copy of the plot plan. if you
Yeah,
like that.
I would like to see that too.
This is a picture of the inside where those 2 windows that I mentioned would be, so. So instead of these 2 small windows, there would be 2 awning windows there, and again, they're the Anderson, windows.
I'll tell you, this is, this is the smallest font I've seen in a while.
I printed it big.
So let me get my,
This is just.
let me get my magnifier on my phone out.
but yeah, this is like the part of the structure, looking at is the structure on the far left, I guess, well, yeah, your left.
Okay, hold on.
Also, this, we already talked about that, the door, this is what the 3 windows would look like. But then that door would slide over to here and be able to slide back to cover the windows as well. And all of this I can certainly do with you.
On the slide, cover those 3 new windows.
Yes, but we would use the doors that are actually there now, and we just refinish them and. Repurpose them.
It says proposed 1-car garage with,
That is, what, that's a whole separate thing that she would like to do, but.
it's like you're not under contract yet?
We are not under contract for that. this time.
Okay.
No, we let her know that we needed to do more research, and I feel like that would be something we'd have to. Present to you first, but talk about it in length and, what she wants and.
why is there this squiggly line? Here. That squiggly line, why is that squiggly? You're having a hard time reading that too, huh? I'm talking about,
This one here?
yeah,
I think that it was just drawn in because he forgot to put the line, so this is enclosed and there's a small door here that goes to the main house.
okay. But there'll be significant foundation work done,
Oh,
right?
absolutely, oh, yeah.
No, he's saying no.
Oh, where?
Downstairs where.
Oh, yeah, the whole barn, right, the barn's getting
Yeah.
done, yeah.
Yeah.
Alright,
But it has to. This door is existing, but underneath where it's under the barn, under here is all just fieldstone here and here. This is a concrete wall and a concrete wall.
mhm.
But we would go in and add pillars and foundation underneath and that was part of the engineered plan. Like he has pretty extensive plans here of what we need to do to.
That's what was in the original
Yes,
application
yeah,
on
yeah.
Open Door.
Yeah. And these are the window specs. I don't know if you would like those as well.
Like to see those.
So this is for the larger windows, and then that's for the two small ones, and then the bank of three windows, and then this one here is the door. That she would like.
This would be out to the deck,
Off
right?
of the deck, it's towards, yes, at the
Yeah.
back of the property.
You know-
Be able to,
So much of this work is not visible to this on the
Mhm.
street.
most of it is not, maybe as you pull in the driveway, but. From Mass Ave, it's not very visible.
Anybody got any questions?
Yeah, just so to make sure I understand, so like, all the changes proposed are really to that former barn structure. And I mean, obviously a little bit maybe around where it gets attached.
Yeah, we just would have to underneath, we would have to reinforce the foundation at where the house meets the barn.
Where the house
Getting-
is the barn.
Getting a new foundation.
The barn, yeah, the barn, you're demolishing the old foundation and
Well,
installing.
actually, they're leaving it there. They're staying there and
Oh,
they're
okay.
reinforcing it underneath. Yeah,
Okay,
so they have to go under and dig down
Oh.
and then add pillars, what do they call it?
Well, they call them-
Lolly column
Wow.
pillars, yeah.
okay, yeah, cause I thought the drawings indicated, that the drawings outline like, I don't know if these are still current, but the page here, it looked like. I mean, I would be personally fine with this, like, I think it's necessary, but it might be, I could see where it would be, but there's like it says, what does it say here? It says. Hatching indicates demolish existing loose stone foundation wall. And then it's like,
I think that was one of the options, cause he
Okay.
put in the plans, there are two different options
okay,
of how we could proceed.
okay,
Because she went with the least,
okay,
because if we demolished that, then we would have to raise the whole barn and add in a lot more
got it.
concrete. But if we came in from that existing wall and dug down and built up.
Okay, so what, I mean, it seems like, you know, as far as issues to consider, I mean. The structural changes are. You know, first of all, I'm okay with the whole thing, it seems like the major issues are there's changes in exterior material, which are permitted under the bylaw. So that's fine, there's the structural changes underneath the barn, I think the fact that you arrived at that decision makes it even easier for us to approve that, I believe, you know, because they're not demolishing the whole existing foundation, you know, I mean, I can understand that we might have, I might be inclined to approve it even if they had to, but I think from an architecture APD perspective, it's a positive thing that they are able to do it, that they're doing it without doing that. And then there's, you know, I guess the window changes. Is there any other, is there no changes to the roof or anything like
The
that?
roof has already been done, somebody redid the roof
Okay.
prior to her purchasing it, so it's staying this
Okay.
as is.
Gotcha. It's a empty slate roof, no?
It's not
It's
any
not.
longer.
No.
Okay.
No.
Used to be.
Used to be.
Used to be,
There's a
yeah.
portion inside the house where you can actually see the old roof with the slates
Right.
on it. It's kind of cool.
Oh, neat, yeah, my barn's same thing, they took the slates down before we bought the house. So, yeah, I mean, I think, are there any other elements that, then there's the window, the new windows, whatever, but, I think that's really. All there is for us to consider and, work with. Does anyone see anything else?
Richard? Any comments? What?
Oh, the deck too, I forgot the deck, yeah.
Yeah, deck, now we're on the backside, you can see it,
All right.
yeah. My one question, it's going back, I'm trying to picture in my mind, is the barn door that's gonna cover the windows.
Yes,
Is the barn door gonna be on the exterior or interior?
exterior,
Exterior,
so that if you close it, it looks the way that it does.
so it wasn't the way it is now,
Yes,
so then I'll just have a rail system above it, okay.
I actually have the same thing on my house at 91 Main.
Yeah, I was just thinking on the outside, how much wear and tear that'll get with the weather and, I mean, that's not for this.
Yeah, no, I hear you. It seems to hold up pretty well. I wanted the same thing on my way home.
Yeah.
But it's held up pretty well.
Well, while we don't have any authority over color, is the house gonna stay basically the same color?
she wants Arctic white, yes.
She gonna change that?
So
Okay.
that the barn would be Arctic white. I don't know what her decisions are for the main portion of the house. I believe down the road, she is going to leave it, because I think right now it's clapboards. And she's gonna leave it as clapboards, and she just wanted the barn because it already kind of has the board and batten look.
Mhm.
So she's leaving that way, and then in the future, I think she wanted to change the rest of the house, but I don't know about the color choice. Other than I know she wanted Arctic white for the barn.
Have you satisfied Ryan's concerns about use and interior function?
I did, I sent that to him today.
Okay.
After I talked to him, I drew it out. I just need to get to him the insulation, which is all gonna be blown in insulation.
Okay.
Foam.
Oh, close so.
While we don't have any authority over any of that, I just wanna make sure that he's comfortable so that he wouldn't come back and say, you gotta do this, this, and this, that could affect what you told us tonight. You don't think that's the case?
I
That,
don't.
you think he's gonna be satisfied with the information
Oh,
you shared?
yes.
Okay, all right,
I talked to him today at the house actually too, so.
okay.
He's
Let me ask you a question. Why didn't you upload all this stuff to OpenGov before today?
Because this is my first time doing a permit in Lunenburg,
Mhm.
and in previous permits, it's like, most of them I've done are in New Hampshire, and they just are like, okay, that's what you're gonna do, great, they didn't require a whole lot of that information. I know we did one in Hollis where we just brought everything to the meeting, and that's how they looked at it,
So this is your first attempt on OpenGov.com?
yes. yeah,
Okay, that's,
Yes.
okay,
Yeah, everything else. that we've
We're-
done-
we're just-
We've all just done paper, so here's, and, so that's kind of why,
okay.
because I've had to upload, I think, a ton of stuff for him over and over again, I'm like, I'm sorry. But
Okay, I was curious, this is our second or third submittal that we've seen
Yeah.
via OpenGov.com,
Okay,
and so we're learning too. But I personally think this is the way of the future, you know?
oh, it definitely
Yeah,
is, yeah.
no. Okay, all right, so we're gonna vote. Is there a motion to approve 936 for a determination of applicability, which means that a binding review is not required?
Motion to approve.
Second,
Second,
William seconds. Any other further discussion?
Yeah, I think, within the scope of changes that we talked about tonight. Yeah, 100%.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
I,
Aye.
Okay, now what will happen, that's approved.
Okay,
I will do my little magic behind the curtain
okay.
on OpenGov.com, and then you'll have a form that will be deposited in OpenGov.com.
Okay.
And it'll have an electronic signature,
Okay.
so it's the same as if you'd given me a piece of paper, and I'm gonna give you a piece of paper back.
Okay.
So you're approved, and thanks for coming in and talking with us. We
Thank you
appreciate
so
that.
We
All right.
should talk about the garage while we're here.
What would she need to do for that?
Yeah.
I
Just
mean,
to
I guess
prepare for the next meeting.
if she.
We, like, my understanding is we're not responsible for new structures.
Yeah,
And, you know, I think that's gonna be more of an issue once again for the
Right.
building commissioner,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay,
But we're not, we can't, we have no authority over new structures.
Okay.
Our authority is over, existing structures. Richard, am I reading that?
Usually, ask that, we be included in the process, as an advisor.
okay,
Usually we're, in the guidelines where our authority is, not in regulating
okay,
a new structure, but in advising giving advice on the style and,
okay.
what's gonna be
understood.
built. So, yeah, we do like to be included in
Okay,
in the
that's fine.
process.
Did they mention how far down the driveway they're gonna put it,
Yeah, she did.
down past the barn?
It is.
It's,
uh,
no,
Kind of right at the end.
no, it's,
Not gonna block, it's like right after
it's in line with the deck.
Yes,
So
in
the-
line with it.
So it'd be viewed from the street.
You would be able to see.
Yeah,
it.
that's what I was getting at.
Yes, yeah, you would be able to see the whole structure, because it would go right into the existing driveway, right into the garage.
Yeah, we'd like to see
And he
that.
said that, I did talk to Brian briefly about that, and the size of it, is gonna make a big difference on from his perspective.
He's gonna have a lot more to say about it than we are.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, pretty decent.
Yeah, in the,
car? One car?
Yes, I believe so,
With usable space above.
correct.
Yeah, he's gonna have a lot more to say about that than we are.
yeah, I mean, there's, the village district bylaw talks about, in general, I think, outbuildings in the village district,
Mhm.
and, I mean, I don't think you'll. I don't remember who has the review authority over that, wanna say it's the zoning board of appeals, I could be wrong.
I think it would be planning first, and then depending on whether there's a conflict with the planning we have two different sets of guidelines for how, two different sets of regulations.
Mhm.
We have a bylaw for architectural preservation of existing structure. And then the town passed a village district set of zoning guidelines or zoning regulations. And the boundary line for where those apply is identical. So the APD, the Architectural Preservation District, is the same as the village district.
Okay,
So there's in fact, there's a whole bunch more regulations that affect, that are under the village district bylaw, which affects that same mapped area.
okay,
And then if there's a conflict with what you want to do against the village district bylaw, then the ZBA would get involved. You know, if it requires a variance to what the village district regulations require. And that's section 250, you know, in the Lunenburg set of bylaws.
okay,
And that's relatively new. That was passed the same time as the Architectural Preservation District was passed in, I think, 2015.
okay,
You know, so, and the idea was to encourage more development, you know, commercial development in the village district. You know, so that's where Brian's gonna go to give you approval. But he may get planning board involved, may have to get ZBA involved with that new structure,
okay.
so. Be prepared.
Okay.
Tell your client, this is something different. But we would like to, like, obviously, I don't think we want to see, you know, something really weird there that would
No, I
detract from
think
the
she
historic
gets-
character,
it's,
but it doesn't sound like she does either.
No, she's very traditional,
Yeah.
and wants to.
Yeah.
Keep the look of.
Yeah.
What she's purchased, so. I thought I had a picture of what you wanted, but.
Okay,
Good.
Okay.
thanks for coming. It was very, very helpful. We got right to it.
Thank you very much.
The clock is stopped because it's complete. All
Okay.
Thank you for your time.
right,
you.
thank you.
And these are your house right there. You guys said it was Yankee.
So
registrations?
so just before we wrap up on the garage, so there is something in the design standards for the architectural preservation district, it says garages and accessory buildings, garages and accessory buildings shall be sensitively integrated in the overall development and should not be the predominant design feature when viewed from the street. So long and short, so that's
Yeah.
the extent of it, you know, I think
Okay.
you're gonna, then there's some overlapping things that it inherits just from the village district, which just basically says it's gotta look roughly like other
Right.
things in the
If
district.
it's
So-
towering over the other structures, that's where I think they might
Yeah,
start.
I don't think she.
Sure, or if they, you know, made it out of like, you know, shining stainless steel.
Yeah.
So overall, like, yeah, I don't, I guess in terms of, yeah, I don't know what that means from a review standpoint, but, there is some treatment of that in the.
I think probably what will happen is, Brian will send it, when you get to the point where you're applying for a building permit to
Yes.
do that, he'll send that to us. Cause it's gonna be flagged, you know,
Yes.
as part of OpenGov.com.
Right, yes,
Yeah.
okay.
Alrighty, yeah, you won't have to worry about telling us that, it'll be flagged automatically because of OpenGov. Alright,
Thank
Okay,
you so much.
thank you.
Yes.
All right.
Pleasure. Good night.
Thank you.
alright, Nathan, Mr. Owl's not working correctly.
Mr. Owl.
Yeah, why don't we, I don't, no, turn it so that we get more people, not just me.
More people.
Get the three of you.
I don't know that it can get. We can get you and Richard. How about
Alright,
that?
alright, we'll do it that way.
Every time you move, it flips the other way.
Yeah.
It's not working right.
Oh. All right,
All
yeah,
right.
sorry.
Okay, so, the other item that was under current business is the APDC budget. Richard, you asked me to put that on there for discussion at, this week or this month's meeting. You know, just to kind of refresh what we had discussed back in May. I thought that the $5,000 that we had, was a one-time deal. I didn't realize that that was gonna be over and over and over again. That got cut because we haven't spent very much of that money. So now we have a kind of a placeholder of $500 in the town budget for the Architecture Preservation District. And at this point, I don't know what we would use those funds for. So what would you like to see us use those
So
funds
it's
for?
500 for next year.
Yeah,
So we still have the 5,000 for this year.
no, well,
Doesn't the fiscal year end at the end of June?
yeah, I don't know if that's the case, if we have the 5,000, whether they move some of those dollars around, I don't know. So,
Like 20 days.
yeah.
Well, I should find that out.
All right.
We should have an idea what to do with it.
So what would we like to do with it?
We could use it for the Hometown Heroes banner program in the APD. That's one thing. Another thing could be for historical markers in the APD.
Okay,
Denoting specific historical spots.
you're going before the select board on the 17th, talk about hometown heroes.
Mhm.
Do you have any funding in the historical commission set aside for that?
We have, yes. Yeah, we have roughly, 2850 that I have to use before the end of the June. I hope I'm right about that. I thought it was the end of June, was the end of the fiscal year for us. No, I have to check on that.
Okay. I think that we would have a hard time spending $5,000 in 20 days unless we had a framework to, you know, a place to actually just say, move that money to that project. Does anybody, I mean, I wouldn't mind supporting the Hometown Heroes project. And, you know, I think historic markers would be a stretch for us to get that done, you know, in the
Well,
next 20 days.
we just have to, agree on what we would do and then invoice it before that time. So that the funds are used.
But then we have to have somebody to have them invoice us.
Yes, we would, so for Hometown Heroes, we would have to contact the banner place and then they would invoice the town for that. We don't have to necessarily have all the exact banners, but we would have a fund with them that's,
Yeah.
that's in place.
I don't have a problem supporting the Hometown Heroes project. And then, that would make sure that we had enough money to do all of the potential candidates whose pictures would end up on,
To the extent of the money available.
is there a motion to use some of our fund? And then what I would propose to do is that I'll join Richard. Is that okay, at the select board meeting?
Yeah.
And say that we discussed this and that we would like to use what funding we have available for Hometown Heroes.
Before we vote, I would, just check with the, town accountant to see if indeed those funds are available.
So don't we make the vote conditional? If the funds, the motion would say if there were funds available, if there were current fiscal year funds available, that we would like to apply to the Hometown Heroes project. Is there a motion? Richard, want to make that motion?
I'll make a motion for that.
Okay,
I'll second it.
all right. All those in favor say aye.
Discussion.
Any other discussion? Thank you. Any other discussion?
I just have one thing, I was thinking if we are trying to spend our funds for this fiscal year, should we, or could we go buy envelopes, stamps, stuff? So maybe next year when we print our mailers, we don't have to worry about how to do it, we can just have the stamps and envelopes ready and use some of the money next year to print them, and then just put them in the mailbox. I don't know if that's something we can pre-buy, and then just keep it locked up in our drawer.
Yeah, we used to do that, at the historical commission for years, all the money at the end of the year that was outstanding, we would spend it on office supplies to use it up, because we knew if we didn't use it, they'd take it away from us.
Yeah, and that's what, 30-40 bucks maybe, so
Yeah,
it's not gonna dent what we're donating to that.
right. I make a motion that we,
Let's vote on the first motion.
oh, we didn't. do
Yeah,
that.
all right, and then we'll pick that, and you make that as the second one.
The first motion is to donate funds that we have to support the Hometown Heroes.
Right, if
um,
available.
If available, okay.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
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 Uh,
Any opposed? Okay, now, we want to make a motion about spending, like procuring
mhm.
envelopes, right?
Yeah, I make a motion to procure itemized needs to submit our mailers in the next quarter.
Second,
All those, or any further discussion?
For a budget of like, you said 50 bucks or something.
I'd say that'd be under 50 bucks is.
Yeah.
You're
Make,
talking about
let's,
2 books of stamps, maybe in a pack of envelopes,
yeah, let's put a dollar number, so,
50 bucks.
okay. All right, all those,
Maybe 100 just in case it goes over, up to 100 bucks.
yeah, I'm done. All right,
Okay.
all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, so that's passed. All right. Old business, we got 5 minutes to go through this stuff, because you're gonna leave here, right, Nathan, at 8:20?
820,
All
yeah,
right.
thank you.
I did meet with, Adam Costa to talk about the historical commission and the APDC merger. And, I met with him on Monday. He had, and by the way, I also mentioned to him that an individual in town named Anna Lockwood has sent a letter to the select board saying that she doesn't want to see this merger move forward without there being a review by the bylaw committee, which, by the way, is the bylaw committee is established for a review once every 5 years. And at the, I think the most recent select board meeting, there was discussion about appointing members to the bylaw review committee. So that process is about to begin. So I mentioned that to Adam, and I said, I don't know how the select board is going to respond to, Ms. Lockwood's request that there be nothing done with the merger of the two, historical commission and APDC, until the bylaw review has taken place. I don't know how they're gonna take that note. I did mention that to Adam, and I says, Adam, I says, you need to go back to the town manager and ask her as to how she views that letter and how it might impact a bylaw review committee action versus us just proceeding with a merger of the two historical commission and the APDC. So he was gonna do that. He was gonna discuss that issue with her. When we concluded, there were three options that we talked about if we move forward and not wait for a bylaw review committee. The select board says, no, we want to wait for a bylaw review committee. So there's three options. The do nothing option basically says we continue to operate the way we are, a historical commission and an APDC. The other option is that the historical commission takes over the responsibility of the APD bylaw. And then the other option is that the APDC continues to stay in business and expands its role to take on the work of the historical commission. So that was kind of how he and I left the conversation, is that he was going to determine whether there would be any impact from Ms. Lockwood's letter, and then to discuss which of the three options the town manager thinks has the greatest ability to get passed and approved. And then we'll have another meeting with him to discuss that, with the target of special town meeting in November to get this action done. So that's where we stand. Any questions?
Oh, good.
Okay. The Brooks House, nothing's happened. I have, I'm hoping that there's going to be some sort of follow-up action, based on the report that was made at town hall. At town hall, they basically said that we think that there's potential for the building to get leased. Lunenburg Municipal Building Project, there was a meeting of the group last week, and the consensus was the committee doesn't really know what to do next. And that, Micah Ray Jeffries is no longer the chair because he's no longer a member of the select board, David Blatt is the vice chair. So he convened the meeting and he says, my plan is to go back to the select board and seek guidance on what to do with the Lunenburg Municipal Building Design Project. So that's that, and he says he's going to try and get on the select board schedule for July. So maybe there'll be some update to that on.
Yeah, I mean, I think what we have to be thinking about is the original the original warrant article we got past the town meeting last year. Basically requested or the select board to prepare a proposal to sell or lease.
Yeah.
I think the next step somebody has to put on the warrant is to, they need to
develop a proposal.
They need to develop a proposal, which it seemed like from what they were close on, but so I think between now and town meeting, we need to ask them to get us that proposal, sooner the better.
Right.
And then we need to prepare a warrant. We need to review that, orchestrate on that, make sure that's where we all want it. And then put something on the warrant to execute, for the town to approve lease, sale or whatever it is, so I think we gotta have that on our action item.
It's not going away.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. That's exactly right. Two things happen. One is the discussions about the Brooks House was really at the last minute prior to the annual meeting. And now we're through the annual meeting. We got a lot of loose ends on the Brooks House. So we got to tidy those up as we head off to the special town meeting. All right.
You're talking, okay.
Yeah, for November. Yeah.
Real quick, I gotta run.
Yeah.
Update on 50 Main Street.
Yep.
I talked to one of the owners there, and the other owner has gotten some bids and is looking to move forward. I'll catch up with him between now and next meeting.
Good.
To see that, but it looks like it is moving forward.
Great.
Taking positive steps, which.
Okay. Thanks, Nathan. It's 763 Mass Avenue. Anything different?
No, haven't heard anything. Still,
Okay.
They're still in violation of demolition delay. Historical Commission sent a certified letter to the owners in Florida stating that it's in demolition delay and that they haven't been following the bylaw. And I haven't received any response from them, so.
Okay,
According to the building inspector, from a couple months ago, they were going to develop it into a two-family home and keep the house existing. So,
They haven't received any formal,
you have a problem with the 10 July meeting before you leave?
I don't think so.
Okay. And then the last thing is, Chris Ruth said that, he hopes to have a punch list for this building by the end of June. Work is proceeding, the slate's been repaired, I'll tell you what he said.
Jimmy's done.
Yeah, chimney flashing, they've replaced damaged slate, they replaced the missing valley and cap flashing, painting and trim is going on right now. Should have a punch list before the end of the month, so that's good. All right, okay,
That's-
anything else to come before us? Is there a motion to
No,
adjourn?
no, yeah.
Oh, okay,
You're before.
all right, we still have a quorum, all right, so go ahead.
So there's a bill in the legislature,
I saw
you
that,
saw that?
Yeah.
That they're, it wants to, they would essentially take away our, power to, deny demolition. And, put a demolition delay instead. So,
I did see that,
That's
and I've been
right.
following that,
Yeah.
and in fact, I read half the bill, I gotta read the other half. And then I may make,
Yeah.
I may make a comment as a citizen,
yeah,
so,
or you could make one as the chairman of the APD.
well, not without the approval of the commission, so.
So bill to take away power of the historical commission to cancel demolitions.
Of the Architectural Preservation District Commission to, deny demolition. And put in a, demolition delay instead. Which would, be big effect.
It would.
So there was that, let's see. The house at the corner of Whiting and Lancaster. I spoke with the owner, again, and an interested party in purchasing the property. And there was a, shingles, she has a shoddy roof, somebody put, asphalt shingles on there and they did a shoddy job. So they keep falling off because they're not nailed in properly. There's no deck under so they're nailing the shingles into the spaces between the old boards, so periodically they come off, yeah. And it was reported that there was a big puddle on the second floor, so I went up on the roof and the pitch is extreme, so it's difficult to stand on, so, and I'm cutting down on my risks, so I was only able to take care of the big holes. It was, shingles were missing and there was holes like that went through the between the boards, so water was just pouring in there. So I didn't have any shingles and I wasn't prepared to do that, so I put some ice and water shield over one of the holes and some plastic over the other. But there was other missing shingles, but it didn't have the big holes like was there, so. And I was sliding on the roof, so I'm cutting down on my risk these days, so. I told her that she needs to have someone get up there and do some roof work on it.
She needs to sell that house.
So I had a interested party and so to help her out, I was doing an estimate for him of the possible costs that needed to be done on the exterior to update that house. needs a roof deck and new shingles and, because it's been neglected so long, the deterioration is snowballing, so there's a lot of, rotten wood and holes through the siding, missing sills that have completely rotted out in the back. The septic system is totally overgrown. And the garage, which was in decent shape 20 years ago, is now falling over. The roof is falling in and it needs to be demolished. So I'm coming up with a price for the interested party who said that he would purchase it and allow the owner to live there.
Have a life estate.
And cause he's interested in renting, so he would fix up the front of the house, rent it, and she would live in the back. Or he said he was gonna he could build a new garage and with an apartment, and she could live there and as long as she wanted, without paying rent. Whether that's gonna happen, I don't know, cause I think with the cost of the renovation to the exterior of the house would negate pretty much the cost of the house. So essentially I think that the property is worth the land that it's on, and the house really isn't worth anything.
The liability.
Yeah.
Too
Although,
bad, 'cause
I mean, it's in mint restorable condition for somebody that would, like
Yeah.
finding an old Corvette that's been in a barn for 30 years and has rust and stuff, it's all there. The interior is all there, all the details inside, all the old plaster and the paneling, the fireplaces and floorboards. It's quite beautiful. But the exterior has been neglected, so we'll see. I'll have an update, hopefully next meeting on that. The Boston Historical Commission is asked the select board to reinstitute the Boston Post newspaper, cane, which was giving out historically to the oldest member of the town. And this was to every town, not the cities, but towns in Massachusetts. There was an ebony cane with a gold top, and that was given to the oldest person in the town to honor them, and that and when they passed on, it was given to the new eldest person in the town. So we wanted to bring that back. It's fallen into disuse over the years of we're asking the select board to start this, and the historical commission voted on purchasing a replica cane. We have the original cane, but it's kept, it hasn't been passed down anymore. So we're having a replica made by a company, in Peterborough, New Hampshire, and we're going to reinstitute this tradition.
So what the historical commission wants is for the cane to actually pass
Yes,
from
yeah, so,
the oldest person to the next oldest person.
yeah, so the select board.
Because right now, all that's happening is that they're designating that the person as the holder of the cane, but doesn't actually get the cane.
Yeah, kind of. So the select board would give that to the eldest person, and then that would be returned when that person moved on, and give it to the next person.
I understand from listening to Deb Lincoln that what happened was that the canes were disappearing. That they weren't being passed on because, family members wouldn't let it move to the next person. And that's the reason why the town decided to
Yeah.
to
probably.
have its cane kept on display
Yeah.
at the adult learning center.
Yeah,
And recognize the individual who would be the holder of that cane, but they wouldn't actually get the cane.
right, they got a pen.
Yeah.
Historical Commission thought that was cheap, so.
Yeah. So you guys are talking about actually coming up with a replica
Yeah,
cane.
yeah, it's not gonna be gold, but it'll be gold, you know, gold.
Be gold
color.
plate.
It'll look like it, it'll be an exact replica, but.
All right, that's good. I
A lot
like
of
that.
materials are cheap, but so it'll be the tech deck, the hardy board of, cane.
Canes, okay,
So hometown is the 17th, we're meeting with the select board. You'll be there, we're
Yeah.
gonna present the program to them, and hopefully we can get that going. Bill Laxo has been reappointed to the historical commission, so we have 4 members now.
great.
And we voted to use our budget for historical markers. So we're working up, this month, we're working on picking out sites that deserve attention historically. One is the old buttonwood tree on Buttonwood Place off Electric Avenue. There used to be a twin of that buttonwood tree on the common that was planted around the time of the revolution, after the Revolutionary War. And so we want to mark that and bring attention to that tree, so people be educated to what it is, and hopefully it'll be taken care of over time and reach its full age. That townwide survey is still in progress. Brian Knight Resources, the consultant, is filling out a lot of forms and doing a lot of research on different houses in the that are on the Kilburn map. That's supposed to be completed in the fall.
Will that end up with a National Register district or National Register site designation for some of those houses?
They will, yeah, a lot of them will be eligible, yeah.
Okay,
Mhm. And then, having a survey in the town, also opens the town up to, being able to apply to, certain government, grants over time. And I don't think there's any gonna be in the next 4 years, but maybe someday there'll be grants again, and, that'll make them eligible, and eligible to apply for them.
okay,
That's the end of the historical commission report.
all righty. William, you have anything else to add? Don't have anybody online? Next meeting would be the 10th of July. If you remember correctly, when we met in May, I says technically we might have a master plan steering committee meeting. The committee is
That must
complete,
be today, right?
it's complete, yeah, it was supposed to be today, and then it's completely dysfunctional, and I'm not sure what's going on, you know. What's very interesting is I looked at all of the town's boards, commissions, committees. And there are only 2 committees, the library trustee group and the adult, or the Lunenburg Adult Learning Center Board. Those 2 organizations have 11 members on their board. They are the only 2 groups whose membership exceeds what the quorum currently is for the master plan steering committee. The master plan steering committee quorum exceeds every other committee and every other board except for those 2. Which is the reason why that group is having such a difficult time convening and having meetings. Because the 15 members that the planning board has put on that group requires 8 people to be available for a meeting to happen. Now, they did eliminate 1 position. So now the quorum is 7, not 8. But that 7-member quorum exceeds every other committee and every other commission and every other board, except for the 2 that I just mentioned. And that's their total membership. That's not the quorum for the library or for the adult education or learning center. You know, so until they change the quorum number, that committee is gonna have a very difficult time getting anything done.
What do you mean they're not having meetings?
No,
because they
because
don't
you
have a quorum?
Can't have quorum.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, I don't understand it, so.
Mm.
Okay, and I think it's, I mean, having a master plan, it's decent, you know, that talks about how we deal with our future historic structures, you know, which is one of the reasons why I did get involved. Even though we weren't designated a seat on the original 15-member committee. I think it's really critical for us in the future. I mean, things that we talk about here should be, you know, a part of the plan. Things that you guys talk about, historical commission, ought to be part of the plan. But we can't get those discussions going because we can't have meetings because the quorum's so large.
So,
Yeah. Okay, all right, next meeting is the 10th of July. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
second,
All right, all those in favor say aye.
aye.
Aye. All right, thank you. Thanks for coming tonight, everybody, and we are done.